Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here. Hopefully you're all having a great Monday, an awesome start to the week, whatever you might be doing. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how Michael and Trevor could be making an appearance in Grand Theft Auto Online. And this would be significant for a couple of reasons. Number one, because these characters have never appeared in multiplayer, but also number two, what Rockstar has teased recently with one of the DLCs coming out later in the year in 2020, likely during the winter December holiday season. So before we can talk about what Michael and Franklin and their voice actor and motion capture artist had to say, we need to go back to what Rockstar announced very quickly the other day regarding what's going to happen in Grand Theft Auto Online later this year. They said that it's going to be the biggest ever update for GTA Online, and it will involve the latest take on Heist in an entirely new location. So the three big things there, number one is it's the biggest update ever. It's going to involve the latest form of Heist, which is what we did in the Diamond Casino Heist, and it'll be in a new location. Now, I think the trickiest part about this is figuring out what Rockstar means by new location. Does that mean somewhere still in the Los Santos, San Andreas map? Does that mean somewhere entirely different, like Liberty City? Does it mean just an augmentation of the world we're in right now? Again, it's all speculation at this point. And as you guys know, with Grand Theft Auto Online updates, Rockstar likes to introduce not only brand new characters, but also characters that we have experienced in single player and in story mode. I mean, just think of all the story mode characters that appear in Grand Theft Auto Online. You've got Ron, you've got Trevor, you've got Lester, you have Lamar, you have Jimmy DeSanta, Michael's son, which is kind of important because that might tie into what we're going to be talking about next. I'm sure there's a ton of other characters that I'm missing as well that have made brief appearances in single player. And there's even been characters from other GTA games like Tony Prince and Malk from the Lost MC Biker Club. They have all made appearances in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, there's been a ton of new characters too, but Rockstar likes that idea of bringing back some nostalgia mixed with our, Grand Theft Auto Online characters who obviously don't speak and don't necessarily have a relationship like we do, the fans and the players, with these old characters. And so now let's get to what Ned Luke and Sean Fontano, the actors and likeness of Michael and Franklin, had to say about actually appearing in a future heist. So this was actually recorded back in April. Both Ned Luke and Sean Fontano, they did sort of like an Instagram collaboration, and they talked about a myriad of different subjects, and it looked like they discussed potentially being in a future heist. Now again, this is not concrete, this is not like set in stone, but what they have to say is pretty interesting. Now, thanks to the Twitter account GTA 6 News for actually capturing this. I'll leave a link to their original tweet in the description. You can see when it was posted. It was all the way back on April 3rd. And at the time, it didn't kind of make a whole lot of sense because we had no idea if Rockstar was going to be doing another heist. But now that we have this confirmation, things just became a whole lot more interesting. Take a listen to this right here.
Screwed by that. So a kid like Bubba, some other kids, there's tons of them where they aren't.
For real. Because I don't think anything related to Rockstar is in production right now. Mm-hmm. All I know is that they're still doing online content for GTA 5. And me and Ned waiting on our Rockstar. We waiting to do our online, man, our what they call that, Ned? Because you know more about it. What are we waiting to do online? A heist or something or something?
Oh yeah, that would be fun. I would love to be one of the guys who gives out the who sends you out on the missions. Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be really.
I heard that they had something with us coming up to do that. So
yeah, I haven't heard that.
Okay, pretty interesting, right? Now, obviously, you sort of have to take everything they say with a grain of salt because some of it does kind of come across as they're joking. Some of it might be things they are just wish listing or speculating. Even though they are the likeness of these two characters, they are allowed to wish list and speculate just like we are. But how cool would that be if Michael and Franklin arrived in Grand Theft Auto Online to sort of lead us through this incredible heist? And wouldn't that kind of make sense if we're going on the biggest heist ever in a new location? wouldn't it be valuable to learn from the guys who did it so successfully throughout the story? And I also feel like from Rockstar's perspective, it's finally time to add them into the game. So I think for the longest time, the reason why we never saw Michael and Franklin in Online is because technically the story of Online was supposed to take place before the single player. So before single player, Michael was retired, quote unquote, and Franklin was not involved in like the heisting business. Yeah, he was basically just trying to survive. Trevor was really the only one that was like still out there kind of making a name for himself, which is why I think it makes a bit more sense why he was the one who showed up for the original Contact missions, who our characters can run into. But now that we know Grand Theft Auto Online takes place in current day, there would be nothing stopping someone like Michael or Trevor from appearing. And I can't speak for Ned Luke or Sean Fontano personally, but it does still look and sound as if they have a good working relationship with Rockstar, which is obviously important in decisions like this. We've seen a number of times in the past where some GTA voice actors and the likeness of characters have gone on to say some not so great things about Rockstar, and I think it's made it difficult for Rockstar to work with them in the future, just because the relationship is so strained. But I don't think that's the case here. I think they both have great relationships with Rockstar, and if they wanted to introduce Michael and Franklin, and again, I don't think that would be a hurdle that they would have to jump over. So at least on the surface, that looks like good news. Now, the only other thing that might be an issue for Rockstar here is how the ending of GTA 5 worked, and obviously you got to choose between 3 different choices, A, B, and C. And ending C, everyone lives. Ending A, you end up killing Michael. Ending B, you end up killing Trevor. So I guess the only one that would make sense at this point would be ending C. But even that has its own troubles, as we know some side characters are killed as a part of that, including some of the ones that are featured in the most recent update, like the Diamond Casino and Resort DLCs. So at this point in time, I think Rockstar is just assuming that maybe Online is in its own separate universe. And I guess really that's how they could easily explain how those characters would ultimately return. Because other than that, it gets very, very messy, the timeline of GTA Online and how it relates to the story mode. And if you guys are confused by that at all, I'll leave a link to a video I did a couple of weeks ago in the description that outlines what Rockstar has said about the timeline. To give you a long story short, before GTA Online came out, they said it was going to take place before story mode, but then sometime around 2017, it looked like the timeline shifted to modern times. So GTA Online was taking place in the same year in which that update came out. So, for example, the Diamond Casino heist would have happened in 2019. It wouldn't have happened before the story in 2013. I know it's a little bit confusing, but that's kind of where we stand right now. Now, it's also going to be interesting to see if this has anything to do with the standalone version of GTA Online. Remember, when GTA Online releases for the PS5 and Xbox Series X, it's going to be disconnected from the story mode. There's going to be a standalone version of the game. So that's why I think things might get a little bit complex here, because how does disconnecting it from the story mode relate to how single-player characters can return? And is this going to bridge the gap to a future GTA title? Like I said, there's a lot of variables here. Now, I think it's also important to note the time in which that video was recorded, which again was in early April. There's a lot of other variables that factor into this as well. The pandemic, how it prevents Rockstar from capturing performance capture footage and doing voice lines and stuff like that. A lot of things we probably don't have the answers to. And I think if this is true and it was happening in April, that would give Rockstar plenty of time for them to set up something like that in the month of December. I mean, that's like almost 7 or 8 months. So this is why I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below on really every aspect of this. Number one, do you think someone like Michael and Franklin could return in Grand Theft Auto Online for a heist update? Do you think it involves the one that's going to be happening later in the year in 2020? And do you think there are any big-time complications to something like this actually happening? Let me know what you guys are thinking in those comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.